welcome to today's video. So, as some of you guys may know, I've recently transitioned from becoming an English teacher in Korea to being a full-time entertainer here. And I haven't really talked to you about why I did it and the process of me doing it. I guess I've hinted at it, but I'm gonna give you the full, the whole scenario, so from start to finish. I guess how I want to start this video is by saying that I've been in Korea now 5 years, so my experience of becoming a full-time entertainer is definitely going to be specific to me, and I hope that this video can be helpful or at least informational in some way to you if you are looking to make that transition, but I don't know how much it will actually pertain to your specific situation. So again, I'm going to try to help you, but I don't know if I can help you. So to start off, I've been in Korea, again, 5 years teaching English, and throughout the time in Korea, I've also been doing, obviously, YouTube, as you can see here. Through YouTube, I was able to also have the opportunities to be able to do a lot of other things. I was able to make content for Korean tourism or beauty brands, travel companies, XYZ. I've also been able to meet a lot of people in the industry. I was in a couple music videos, I've done some voiceovers, just little things here and there. And for me, I would sometimes get a phone call asking me if I was available to do something, or people were interested in me maybe like hosting something, and I just couldn't do it because I was working a full-time job. Yeah, it couldn't work. So every time I couldn't do something I wanted to do because one, I'm on a teaching visa, and two, I'm contractually obligated to do my job that I'm contracted for. So anytime I got a phone call where I couldn't do something that I wanted to do because of my job, it was one of those like, it was like, I had a few of those instances enough where I was thinking, how can I make this happen for me? And at the same time, teaching was a way to pay the bills. It's a steady income, and it paid for housing, insurance, food on the table, XYZ, but it wasn't my passion. It's not what I studied in school. It's not kind of my creative outlet, if you will. During the pandemic especially, I had a lot more time to myself and to think about what I wanted to make out of my career and my life. And teaching English is not a career path by any means, especially in a different country. It's a job essentially, but there's very few occasions where you can grow career-wise as a teacher here in Korea as a foreigner. So, and plus, even if I could grow, it's not what I wanted to do anyway, so there's that. I had something happen at my Hagwon where I kind of had a ding-dong moment, an aha moment, and decided to transition over. I'll make a separate video about that because there's some tea in there. But so how I went about it was, as I said, I had a lot of friends in the industry already just from my years living here, and so I asked around. I was like, okay, so where should I start looking? Which places are shady? And I kind of already knew a few things just from, having already asked out of curiosity. And I also looked on social media for agencies. I started looking for agencies, and I had some that were not so great and some that were better than others. But it was definitely still a struggle for me, so I can imagine how hard it would be to come fresh to Korea, no connections, no idea of what to look for, because even I found it really I was shifting through trying to find something that worked and something that seemed legit and fair. I mean, I had one agency where the CEO essentially called me, and I'd been referred to by a mutual friend, and she had said, I heard you're so-and-so's friend, and but the thing is, I don't really know what to do with you because you're not white, you're not black, you're not Arab, but I'm gonna send you a contract anyway. And I said, oh, okay, well, thank you, I guess. Essentially she's telling me she can't find any work for me, but she's gonna send me a contract. And this was twofold. This was one in part because I was referred to by one of her talents, but also two, she just wanted my money. So a lot of agencies here in Korea, they ask for an upfront amount of cash to process your visa, but it's essentially you paying for them to give you a visa, because visa processing should really, any fees incurred should really be taken on by the agency. But also there's not really that high of a fee. So for example, this agency was asking me for 2.2 million won upfront, which I would obviously never get back, and the contract was 50-50 for any job I would have. So that's crazy. And this is a real agency with many talents, and some people I already know. And essentially people did it because other people are in it and they're legit enough where they want to they do the paperwork to maintain your status as a talent, but also it's quick and easy. So if you give them 2.2 million and you agree to half, there you go, done deal, you're set. But the problem with that is that I am really nervous about being able to maintain enough income throughout my time in trying to build a professional career path here. So I'm just starting out. I don't really have a huge portfolio. You know, will I be able to get steady jobs? And this agency's already pretty much told me, like, you're not white or black or Hispanic or Arab, so therefore we won't be able to get you any work, which is not uncommon. And a lot of times you do have to, most talents have to find their own work. It's not like in America where agencies get you all your jobs. It's really not the case here. So I knew that I was already gonna have to do a lot of footwork myself and find jobs myself, but every job I take, for me to just give them half for an agency that's already told me they won't be able to get me jobs at all, that to me is crazy. So I was like, no thank you. And then I found another agency, also through a mutual friend. Also like did some little background searching myself on Instagram and Facebook and just figured out that they were legit. Went to their office, did an interview, went very well. They did also take a small visa processing fee, about 1.3 million, and their cuts were less drastic. They split the cost between if they got me a job versus if I got myself a job. So if they got me a job, the percentage ratio was bigger for them, obviously, because they're getting me the job, and then if I got the job, they would take a smaller ratio. So that to me seems really fair. And also what I appreciated about this particular agency was that they told me that, you know, things are slow everywhere due to the pandemic, so all the talents are having a hard time. They would really try to do their best for me, but they also wanted to make sure that I was aware of the situation and that I would be able to find my own work. So that kind of upfront conversation is really important to me, because I don't think things should be sugar-coated when it comes to someone's livelihood. And for them to be able to say, you know, we have a few ideas of what we could do with you in mind. We don't know if they would pan out necessarily. It's not really up to us, but we just want to make sure that, like, while we're trying to get you work, you're also able to get yourself fed, essentially. That was really cool of them to do, because, you know, some agencies are just like, give me your money, or some agencies are like, oh yeah, we'll totally help you, and then they don't. So that kind of conversation is really important. I've also met with another agency where we never really got to the contract phase, because at that point I was already kind of in talks with another place. But this agency was much smaller, but the community was really knit within their agency, within all their talents, and I actually really liked the vibe. So I was debating going with them, because I looked up their talents as well, and they were working, which is really important. Their Instagram showed that they were working. So Instagram is a really great platform to kind of like figure out what agencies are legitimate, what agencies' talents are actually working and having steady enough income. The agency I settled upon, it was actually a kind of coincidental and good timing, I guess, on my part. And so I had to go in for a meeting to talk about some work I might potentially be doing. And then I mentioned how I was, you know, permanently looking to transition to an E6 visa. And they said, wait, Chen, we can give you an E6 visa. And I said, what? You can? Well, that's great. Because they're essentially a company, but they have an NCN, which I wasn't aware of. And I had worked with them a few years ago as well, so I've known them for a long time. So that kind of already was a good starting point because I already had like a working relationship with them, and I trusted them to not con me, which happens a lot here in Korea. You always really have to be careful about getting conned and scammed by agencies. But so I already had a working relationship with them, and I already knew them, and I knew that they were nice people, so that was really, really good. And the fact that they were willing to give me a visa, I was really, really grateful about. So that's kind of how I decided upon my agency. It was I went to a lot of interviews, it was a lot of trial and error, and I think the best thing to take out of it is that, you know, obviously you are in dire need of a visa, I get it, but you can always say no, and you can always keep looking. And I know a lot of people are on a time crunch, and that obviously adds another stressor to it. I do want to say you want to make sure that you have like a nest of savings and finances kind of ready on hand, because you're not going to be able to work right away. And especially when you're searching for agencies, they're not going to be even if you do sign to an agency, they're not going to be able to get you steady work straight out. So you're going to want to be able to have some sort of financial cushion so you can, you know, eat and live and survive while you're trying to build your career. And then after that, I kind of made a portfolio of all my previous work and compiled it so that they can then send it off and get everything approved, because there's other documents you need from the Ministry of Culture and XYZ to kind of process an E6 visa. And currently right now I'm still on a D10 visa, which is a looking for work visa, because when you're on an E2 teaching visa, you can't transition straight away into an E6 entertainment visa. You have to get a D10 visa first. And immigration was really backed up because of the pandemic, so I had to wait ages to get my D10 visa. And then I'm going to be going in with my agency and the lawyer for my E6 visa. So that's kind of how I transitioned into this whole new career path and into this whole new life, I guess. And I'm currently preparing everything for what happens afterwards, when I can legitimately start working on going to auditions and castings and XYZ, and preparing all my online content and all that stuff. So it's a lot in between, but that's kind of how I went about doing things. And obviously I had it maybe a little bit easier because, again, I knew people here versus kind of just trying to come from abroad. I don't know if that's the best way to go about things, to be honest, but I'm going to be making a separate video about how to get an E6 visa, and I think it will be really helpful for anyone looking to make that transition, whether you're already in Korea or you're outside of Korea looking to come here. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed and, you know, hitting the notification button so you can have all that information. In the meantime, guys, I hope you enjoyed my little story time. I will talk to you guys soon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.